All right. Good afternoon, gentlemen, and I guess we are all gentlemen. For next Friday, not this coming Friday, but next Friday, I'd like you to complete Program 8. That deals with a class exercise using C#. It's a console program. It should take you a good chunk of time to complete it.
Oh, wow.
I would say about an hour. Probably take you about an hour, 2 hours to complete it.
Okay, so it's like an afternoon project.
I thought you meant
like a week to do.
No, it won't take you a week to do.
It's not like a final.
How long did it take you to do?
Well, I had to come up with it and program it, and so it took me about an hour and a half. So I'm thinking if you all are, on the ball and ready to go, hour and a half, hour, no problem. So speaking of which, let us discuss classes in C#, and particularly how those things work. All right. If you look at this code, you can see in my Solution Explorer, there are two classes here. There's a rectangle class, then there's the room area program, essentially a driver for this particular class. In this case, what I'm doing is I'm creating 3 new instances of this rectangle class. So let's take a look at how this rectangle class works. Okay, so you can see that I've got these attributes here. Notice that just like in Visual Basic or in C++, I can specify these things private, public, or protected. And then you can see below here, this is the constructor. All I'm doing is just initializing those values of length and width. And then you can see I've got these accessor or mutator methods here. So for instance, set length, which will change the value of that length. These things can get very complicated and get very interesting. For our particular purposes, we're just going to use the standard setting of these values. So you can see I've got the accessor and mutator methods for both length and width. And then this particular method here, get area, it's just simply doing a calculation and returning that value. Okay? So here in my program, these 3 lines of code here are responsible for creating those new objects. When I call this new, it invokes that constructor, initializes those values to 0. And then later on down here, so for instance, I've got kitchen length and bedroom length and den length. Yeah, you can tell about 4 nights ago or something, my wife and I were talking about kitchens and dens and bathrooms, all that stuff. So you're just getting this information in from the console. Again, remember that C# is strongly typed, so you have to do your conversions. In this case, I'm just using doubles here. Using this particular method, kitchen.set length, to modify the length of that object, and then modify the width of that object. That's just simply done 3 times, and then calculating the total area just for each of any of these objects. I'm using that method to call get area, adding those 3 values up, and then printing them out. Okay, so if I were to run it, okay, so you can see that I'm adding up all this information, adding up the areas of each of these. If I was a good programmer, I probably would have printed out the individual areas of each one of those, but I just overlooked it.
Is that standard or metric?
You know what? It doesn't matter.
They're ready.
Matters not one bit. Not one bit.
It's probably not really very
All right. Any questions over how you use objects in C#?
Sure, there will be.
Okay, that's fine. Good. All right. Your project for today then.
That
sounds awesome. Thank
does sound good.
You need going to write a circle object that is going to take as input the radius. So for instance, 4.5, and it will calculate the area, the diameter, and the circumference of that circle.
I'm gonna need those formulas.
All right.
You show us the code.
Area is equal to pi r squared.
Does the computer know what pi is?
No, the computer does not know what pi is. So
It failed.
I don't know if there is one in C#.
3.14. Let's find out.
Yeah, find out for me. Find out if there's a built-in C# for it. I did mine as a constant, so 3.14159.
First three is just fine with me.
Is it 1.4?
Google this.
It is, it's math.pi.
It is.
Got
Okay.
a P and the I capitalized.
Okay, cool. That was
Is it just math.pi? Okay,
So I guess we capitalized too.
sure. Just like in JavaScript and Visual Basic and all
How do they
those.
truncate that, just out of curiosity?
Infinity. It's a float, so.
Yeah, I don't know. When we get into math computation, I would be happy to tell you, get into an organization actually, you're going to learn all about floating point numbers and how that stuff gets truncated and all that. Kyle. Any questions on what I'd like you to do today? All right, good. Go ahead and get started.
Yeah, what's it? Let me check.